have some great history in terms of Black history in Denver. And to talk about that, we need to go back to the history of Arapahoe County, because the city of Denver, prior to becoming the city and county of Denver, was part of Arapahoe County. And so if we look back in time, our first Black deputy sheriff was Henry O. Wagoner. Well, he has a really interesting story. So in 1816, he was born to a freed slave mother and a German father. And his life journey took him to Chicago, where he actually was the Chicago representative for Frederick Douglass's paper. And soon later, he moved to Denver. Also with him moving to Denver, two of Frederick Douglass's sons also came to Denver as well. And they were all three of them were very instrumental in a lot of changes here within Denver. So, previously in the start of sheriffs in Colorado, they were generally white males. And the first one to ever be appointed in the northern part of Colorado was Henry O. Wagoner. And that is largely due because he had a very prominent place within the city and county of Denver, or in the city of Denver, rather. And that involved education, newspaper, and so he really fit a lot of different professions in the city. And I think that's largely why he was relied upon to become the first sheriff. And when we look at the origins of the Arapahoe County Sheriff and the Denver Sheriff's Department, we're talking about maybe 10 people at that time, sometimes even fewer. So he was not only one of the first Black sheriffs in Denver, but he was one of the first deputy sheriffs in Denver. So Wagoner came to Denver in the 1860s, and during that time, Colorado was moving towards statehood. And as the territorial legislatures got together to pass amendments to qualify for statehood, one of the things they left out was for African Americans to vote. And Wagoner, amongst other people here in Denver at the time, lobbied to not have statehood passed based on that reason alone. And so later, when the Colorado statehood was approved, that was excluded and African Americans were allowed to vote here in Denver. And this largely has to do because of his upbringing, especially with the involvement with Frederick Douglass, his sons here in Denver. Another thing that he was very paramount in was for schooling of African Americans in the area. Prior to Wagoner's participation in that, there was no public schools available for African Americans. In those early times in territories, early statehood, early counties, most lawmen were chosen on their ability to talk to folks and how to squash crime. And so his involvements in various areas of society made him the perfect person for that position. He was able to come in, squash any type of lawlessness that was going on in the area. His background in printing, in milling, in education helped him reach all areas of the society at the time. When we look back at early law enforcement, we tend to always envision that it is a very one-raced career at the time. And so many law enforcement agencies look back to try to determine who the first Black person to be a deputy sheriff or who the first Hispanic was. And we are very fortunate in Denver that we have had, even since before our actual inception, a very diverse amount of people come to work for the city and county of Denver. And here we are today, and many of our leaders are part of the Black community. So it's a great to see that in history and to see how forward-thinking Denver can and has been. American history is Black history. Happy Black History Month.